Hey folks, this is Mike from Shamino's workshop. Our latest project, this is a SID 1.0 Proffieboard NeoPixel custom chassis. Went through a couple of revisions, but I'm very happy with where it's at now. I have 3 sound fonts on here, all Sidious based, much like the SID 2.0 that I just did. Same fonts, some different music tracks. Let's fire up. This is a customer commission. Used to have the Goth chassis with a prism and Hilt LED. So as you can see, we've converted that. Same blade plug, just added NeoPixel PCB. Has all the Smooth Swing files in those fonts. So as you can see, we have LEDs have been converted into plunger buttons. That's why these LEDs are sitting up higher than you would normally expect them to sit up. The buttons are on the chassis. The chassis is removable to access the recharge port, which is about here. So these were converted to plunger buttons. Speaker is within the pommel. So let's break it down. Or let's go over how to break it down, because it does break into several pieces, right? So we have our blade retention for the blade plug. So that'll slide out. So blade plug has a space window NeoPixel PCB. And there we can see custom saber shop in Hilt PCB for NeoPixel. So we can, first thing we can do, obviously take the blade plug out and put a 7/8 inch blade in there. We can take off the upper emitter, right? Go gentle, because you do have the top part of the chassis that you can access. So as we're looking at this, you can see there's some grooves cut out into the chassis. That's just to help you line up the chassis. When it slides in, you want those grooves kind of lined up with your buttons. The buttons are not glued in. That's intentional. So here, you get your fingernails under it, and you can actually take those out. You can kind of see the plunging action. So you can take those out if you want. You don't have to. I'm not sure if we're going to be able. Yeah, there you go. You can see the button. Okay, so again, you could take those out just to help line up the chassis, or you can leave them in and then just use these lines in the chassis to line up with the LEDs. I'll take them out because why not? Now the chassis can slide out from the top or the bottom. I've been reusing the tape, so I'll put new tape just to hold the Proffie down. So there's our Proffie. It's not glued in. although it could be glued in. We typically opt not to glue them in so that we have access. You know, again, the space was very tight. If we need to access the SD card or the USB port, we can just lift the Proffieboard right up and then seat it back down and use our craft tape to hold it in place. Recharge port, sort of sanded down flathead kill key. So you can put that in, and that leaves enough clearance. I know I'm putting this in backwards, but just enough clearance to get it in there. So we can sand that down more, but that should be good. 18650, 15 amp discharge, 3150 I think, 3120 milliamp. So let me get the rest of the chassis out. So we can take the pommel out. Okay. So we'll put you up there. So the pommel cap has the speaker. And if we tap it out, it's a tight fit, but she should slide out. Yep, there you go. Okay. 20 mil speaker, sanded around the edges to fit inside. That was fun. I'm using a Dimitri stock speaker connector set. So the way that works, we wire the speaker to the PCB, 3D printed a little PCB holder, which is glued down to the back of the speaker, so that holds that all in place. Then you can see these two rings. Inside ring is negative, outside ring is positive, which lines up to the two prongs connected, glued to the battery side so that you know, won't come off. And then the speaker wires run up. So when it's all put together, those prongs touch the connector, and that, you know, that allows us to remove the chassis without having to worry about speaker wires or anything in the lower half. We can slide this out in either direction. I've been sliding it out through the top this way. I don't have to remove this at all. I don't know if you can see in there. I also 3D printed a little ring, and that allows the speaker diaphragm to, you know, kind of bounce up and down while it's playing sound. So we just drop that in. Orientation doesn't matter. That PCB should be centered. So we're just pushing it down till you feel a little bit of resistance. We know it's all the way down. And then obviously we go like that to make the connection. The upper emitter part, I glued these in place because they were loose. So these two pieces have been glued to the the other assembly piece. Because I don't know, this was very loose, even when attached and held in place by the retention screw. There was still a lot of spacing. I don't know if that's a 1.0 thing. I don't remember the 2.0 having that problem. So we just tack them in place this way. They don't move. We have our retention for blade. So the way I like to reassemble this, this customer's pommel had two holes. I'm not really sure if all the Sidious Hilts have that. SID 1.0s have that. I don't think my 2.0 had that. Trying to keep this on camera and do it at the same time. Not exactly the easiest thing here. See if I'm going to cheat. I don't know if this is cheating, but I'm going to put the chassis in from the top, line it up, and then use that to hold that in place. Okay, I got my hole lined up. Yeah. Come on. Doesn't want to line up. Take two on that one. Okay. So we get that tight. Okay, so we can get that piece on and we can actually remove the chassis from the top. I've been preferring that only because trying to get that lined up can be a little bit of a chore. And then we're just sliding it down, go slow. And then again, the LED buttons are in. Then use the grooves for alignment. And then you can just press fit these back on. Again, I'm opting not to use glue. We could put a little dab of glue on each just to keep them in, but they ain't falling out. They're pretty kind of like press fit. Tell me I have the kill key in. Yeah, okay. Okay, so if you're quick enough, you can get the kill key out, slide it, make the speaker connection, and actually hear the boot sound. Okay, and we can get the upper emitter back on with its retention screw. And then we can get the blade plug back in, tighten that retention up or down. So this is Proffieboard 1.5. The Proffieboard 2 is not yet released, but so it's original Proffieboard, latest OS 2.4. With one small enhancement, if you hold auxiliary down, then you get battery voltage right out to you. That was a nice mod from a Proffie fork. I love that thing. It's a great mod. What else is there to go over? I don't have a blade made up yet, so I can't really showcase a blade in here. I don't have a 7/8 laying around. So when that's done, I'll do another video on that. I want to say that's it. Yeah, this was a challenging one. I thought the Solos Hold Blind Night was my most challenging install. This is definitely a very close second, if not took the cake. But now that we have the chassis designed, future SID 1.0 installs with Proffie and NeoPixel should go a lot smoother. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.